Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, Boruto episode 222. This right here was the actual hype episode for the next episode. I was really hoping from this episode that we'd actually get to see some of the actual matchups for the next episode and potentially the episodes after that, but they didn't necessarily spill any sort of beans. It was really all hype and anticipation. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, writing wise, that right there is definitely a very good idea, because in this episode we've seen plenty of bonds, and in the next couple of episodes, those same people who actually form bonds with each other may actually have to go up against each other, which is going to prove for some very entertaining fights. I've talked about this so many times, but for the tuning exam, I really wanted other characters to be involved, specifically characters from other villages. But if they're going to do it with just Hidden Leaf characters, I think they definitely need to play up on a lot of those relationships and potentially have some of those characters battle against each other, which I'm pretty sure is exactly what's going to happen. Now, the first thing that I definitely do want to talk about for this episode has to be Sasuke and Sarada's part, mainly because in this particular scene, Sasuke essentially said that Sarada was stronger than him at that particular age. Now that right there in itself is a very controversial statement, mainly because even up until yesterday, people have always been arguing, is Sarada as good as Sasuke, and how close are they in regards to power at that specific age? My personal opinion about this whole situation, I think that Sasuke was being nice. Now, I'm not necessarily going to say flat out that Sasuke will completely destroy Sarada, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, in regards to actual skill and talent, I may say that Sarada is possibly slightly above Sasuke, but that right there is just because of all the resources that Sarada has. In my personal opinion, if you ask me, if they were to actually fight Sasuke and Sarada at that specific age, I think Sasuke is winning, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But again, in terms of talent, I may have to say Sarada, but battle experience and the stuff that Sasuke was on back then, I'm not gonna lie, Sasuke would definitely beat Sarada. But regardless, that right there is definitely a very good scene. I mean, that right there is extremely important for not only Sasuke but also Sarada as well. I'll get into Sasuke's part a little bit later, but into this particular episode, Boruto and Sarada, they were feeling a little bit nervous about the upcoming tuning exam, even though we all know that those two are going to be the strongest characters, or two of the strongest characters. Of course, Mitsuki's gonna be up there as well. We've even seen other gettings in this episode basically singling those two out, like, yo, I hope I'm not gonna be fighting those two. It was also very good to see Sasuke in this episode and see his specific mind state about him actually losing the Rinnegan. Now, again, it was always a controversial statement to say, hey, Sasuke quote unquote lost the Rinnegan, man, because we wouldn't necessarily know until Sasuke flat out says it, because we do understand in the Hidden Leaf Village alone, there are a lot of people that could potentially even fix Sasuke's Rinnegan. Sakura could have possibly fixed it, Amato could have possibly fixed it, Katasuke, Orochimaru, Kabuto possibly. Like, it's just a bunch of things that could have possibly happened to Sasuke's Rinnegan, but it seems like Sasuke right now seems to be okay with the fact that he has actually lost his Rinnegan. But regardless, we're still gonna have to keep an eye on Sasuke's Rinnegan, no pun intended, to see exactly what the updates are possibly going to be with him, not only getting another eye but potentially even another arm. Now, in this specific episode, a lot of the side characters got as much character development in this particular episode as they did in the whole entire series. Like, they probably even got more character development in this specific episode right here. And this right here was extremely evident in Sai's team as well. Hoki is still in the tuning exam. A lot of people like to call him a Kakashi lookalike, but from what we have already seen from Hoki in this particular episode, he looks like he's serious, not only because of the fact that he's essentially an Anbu Black Op, but also his overall presence, his overall voice, his overall feel, like the overall characteristic of Hoki. He seems like he's supposed to be a very serious character. Now, obviously, I'm not necessarily going to go out on a limb and say he's stronger than a character like Sarada or Boruto, but relative to the other gettings, I think that he's probably going to be up there, and I think he absolutely needs to be up there. So I'm definitely excited to see exactly how good he is. Now, there are some other interesting things that did actually happen in this episode, specifically Tsubaki actually leaving her team behind and potentially going back home. Coming into the Hidden Leaf Village, she never really planned on staying here forever. She always planned on going back home, but for now to actually see everything about to go down, Tsubaki actually leaving her own team, a team that Sumire had actually left, it seems like it's a sad moment. Tsubaki herself at first kind of felt a little bit sad, and her teammates felt sad as well, Wasabi and Namida. I personally think they're going to eventually get over it, but I do have to admit there is a slight possibility that Tsubaki says that she's going to stay in the Hidden Leaf Village just because of the sheer fact that she built a very good relationship with a lot of the people in the Land of Fire. Now, in regards to how well I think that team is probably going to do, I think that team is going to be absolutely amazing. I've said this multiple times. I think there is definitely still a very good possibility that Tsubaki may actually be stronger than Sarada, because when she first entered the series, I think it was no question that she was stronger than Sarada. We obviously did see Sarada get a lot stronger, but that same thing could also be true for a character like Tsubaki, who previously damn near had minimum knowledge about ninjutsu and chakra as a whole. So I personally believe that she herself is definitely going to be one of the strongest Genians in the whole entire Chunin exam. Another team that was very interesting, that had a very big part in this episode as well, was the Inoshika Cho trio, and we really got to see a little bit of the character of Shikadai, how they're essentially like a family, and they even dive deeper into the fact that Shikadai never even put on his Chunin vest. I believe they spent a lot of time on that specific trio right there, mainly because in the next episode is going to be Inojin's first fight, and of course he is going to be fighting against Haoki. We did see that in the preview, which I'm probably going to be reacting to a little bit later, but regardless, that fight right there is definitely going to have a lot of ramifications on the whole entire Inoshika Cho trio, and of course the overall character of their opponent, Haoki. That right there is definitely going to be an absolutely insane fight. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, 2 weeks ago, if you guys would have told me, hey, Inojin is some random guy named Haoki is probably going to fight in the future, we probably wouldn't even really care. But this specific episode right here, I'm not gonna lie, it made me super hyped for that particular fight right there. Hopefully you guys feel the same as well. Now, a very funny thing that did actually happen in this episode that's causing a bit of controversy on Twitter and other social media is the fact that Kawaki asked about Sarada. Now again, I talked about this many times. I don't necessarily feel as strongly about the actual shipping wars that's going around, but the Boruto fans out there, the people who want Boruto and Sarada to be together, a lot of them are getting extremely pissed off because Kawaki asked about Sarada in this episode. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Is that like a sign that Kawaki actually does like Sarada? We've already seen multiple signs before that possibly points to Sarada liking Kawaki, her bringing him flowers, her wanting to be his friend, a whole bunch of stuff like that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And the last thing that I do want to talk about has to be the last thing that we did actually get to see in the episode. In this particular part, we did actually get to see a gang of guys potentially entering the Hidden Leaf Village. Specifically what they are trying to do, I have absolutely no idea. I believe we heard a bit about them in the actual spoilers, but I don't even really remember specifically what they did. Of course, I'm going to be going over the spoilers for the next episode, potentially sometime in a week, probably tomorrow, probably the day after that. I'm not sure, but this right here seems like it's going to be very interesting. It's crazy because every single Chunin exam that we've pretty much had, there's been some sort of interruption, and this right here seems like it's probably going to be this year's interruption. But hopefully they do a very good job of building characters of the actual villains, because these guys just seem like they're going to be random fodder at this particular point. But I think overall for this episode, it was definitely a decent episode. It wasn't necessarily supposed to be anything too crazy, but coming into this episode, I understood what it was for. It was essentially a hype episode for the next episode, and they did just that. Now I'm actually excited a little bit for this Inojin Haoki fight. It should be good. Hopefully it will be good, and hopefully Haoki does present some sort of excitement and some surprises for the fans out there to actually see, you know, does he actually live up to the rumor of possibly being Kakashi's son? But it's me, your boy Bar B, and we out.
It's a knife.